Welcome to a Legendarium special about Greek mythology. In this episode, we will study the tragic house of Cadmus, which begat Oedipus, one of the most infamous figures in Greek mythology. The founder of Thebes is known as Cadmus, a descendant of the union between Io and Zeus when he bedded her while in the form of a bull. Cadmus's family included his father, a Phoenician king named Agenor, and Queen Teliphasis, along with his two brothers Thasos and Cilix, along with his sister Europa, who, like her mother, was carried off by Zeus, again disguised as a bull. Cadmus, Thasos, and their mother went to look for Europa. During their journey, they stopped in Thrace, where Cadmus met his future bride Harmonia, a daughter of Ares and Aphrodite. The gods themselves attended their wedding, and Aphrodite gave Harmonia a necklace made by Hephaestus, the blacksmith of the gods. Taking Harmonia with them, Cadmus's family then went to the oracle at Delphi for help. The oracle told Cadmus to look for a cow with a lunar sign on either side of its body, follow the cow wherever it went, and then make sacrifices and found a town wherever the bull happened to lay down. After finding the cow, Cadmus followed it to Botoia, a name based on the Greek word for cow. Where it lay down, Cadmus obediently made sacrifices and founded a town. He sent scouts to find water, only to learn that they died at the blood-caked claws of Ares' dragon, who guarded a nearby fountain. With help from the goddess Athena, Cadmus slew the dragon using only a stone. Athena then advised Cadmus that he should plant the teeth of the dragon, which he duly did. From them emerged fully armed warriors of Ares, clad in flayed human skins. They would have butchered Cadmus had he not thrown stones at them and tricked the warriors of Ares into thinking they were attacked by their comrades in arms. Ares' warriors then fought each other until only 5 exhausted warriors survived, who came to be known as the Spartoi, or the Sown Men. These 5 men, Eudaus, Kenothos, Echion, Pelor, and Hyperenor, founded the 5 ruling families of Thebes. Curiously, King Cadmus then seems to have forgotten about the quest to find his sister, and instead focused on ruling his new town and creating a family. Queen Harmonia gave birth to Semele, the mother of the goddess Dionysus, and Agave, the mother of Pentheus. When Semele became pregnant, Zeus destroyed Semele with a lightning blast, and then placed the unborn Dionysus in his thigh, where she would grow to womanhood. As Zeus murdered Semele, the palace of Queen Harmonia and King Cadmus burned. With no choice, King Cadmus and Queen Harmonia traveled to a new land and founded the city of Illyria. King Cadmus then handed over the kingship of Thebes to his son Polydorus, who married Nicias, and the couple begat a son named Labdacus, who of course became king of Thebes and begat a son named Laius. In time, King Labdacus became fearful that his son would one day replace him. After all, in Greek society and mythology, a son had nothing until his father died, which did not ensure very good father-son relationships. Fearing his father's anger, Laius fled Thebes and sought refuge with King Pelops of Elis. There Laius fell in love with Pelops' son Chrysippus, who did not return his affections. So Laius lured Chrysippus out of town and raped him before fleeing back to Thebes. An enraged Pelops cursed Laius for his hideous crime, and this would transform the dynasty's fortunes. At first, Pelops' curse did not appear to work. By the time Laius returned home, his rivals for the throne died off, and the Thebans had no choice but to raise Laius to the vacant throne. He then married a woman named Jocasta. Soon afterwards, an oracle warned King Laius that he would be murdered by his own son. Fearing death, King Laius refused to have relations with his wife until one night, when in a drunken rage, he raped her as he did Pelops. This served as a reminder to the ancient Greeks that not even the strongest men could defy prophecy or the gods' will. When Jocasta bore a son, Laius had his feet pinned together to keep his ghost from walking about, and then ordered a shepherd to abandon the baby on Mount Kithaeron. Instead, the shepherd took pity on the baby and gave him to a friend from Corinth, hoping the baby could simply vanish and live out his days. This friend delivered the baby to King Polybus of Corinth, who adopted the child with his wife, Queen Merope. The royal couple gave the boy the name Oedipus, which meant swollen foot or sore foot. When a drunken man questioned Oedipus's parentage, Oedipus went to Delphi to learn about his true parentage. Instead, the oracle told him that Oedipus would murder his father and marry his mother. Horrified, Oedipus abandoned Corinth and headed towards Thebes. Along the way, a chariot ran Oedipus off the road and grazed his foot. In his prideful rage, Oedipus murdered the driver, the passenger, and all the retainers. Very reasonable of him. Little did Oedipus know that he had just murdered King Laius, his biological father. And upon arriving at Thebes, he learned about the Sphinx, sent by Hera as punishment against the Thebans for failing to atone for the crimes of King Laius. Before killing and eating Thebans on the road, the monster asked a riddle. What goes on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at midday, and 3 in the evening? No one had been able to solve the riddle and died horrible deaths at the Sphinx's blood-caked paws. King Laius had been traveling to Delphi to learn how to rid Thebes of the Sphinx, but reports came back to his brother-in-law Creon about the king's death at the hands of unknown bandits. Acting as regent, Creon decreed that whoever could solve the riddle would become the next king. Oedipus met the Sphinx and quickly realized the answer was man, who crawled on all 4s as an infant, walked on 2 legs as an adult, and used a cane as an old man. The Sphinx, in her anger, threw herself off a cliff. Thus Oedipus became king of Thebes and married Jocasta, his own mother. She bore 2 sons, Polynices and Eteocles, and 2 daughters, Antigone and Ismene. Thus the stage is set for the epic Greek tragedy of Oedipus Rex. It served as yet another reminder that any man, no matter how cunning he thought he might be, could defy prophecy. That wraps up this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.